Not everyone is awake to it or understands just how pivotal this next century will be, but I believe we are entering the age of the greatest change, danger, and opportunity ever seen in human history. And in this time, what we need most is leaders. Culture is the unifying force or spirit that binds people together and gives their lives meaning and direction. The culture of the West comes from a couple main sources. Its spirit is Promethean or Faustian, as I covered in my last video, which is ever expanding, pioneering, and questing forward. The West is also rooted in the philosophy and reason of ancient Greece, as well as the pagan values of honor and glory, and of course the Christian religion. Unfortunately, there has been a slow death or subversion of all of these in the past couple of centuries. Most people have no sense of a unifying spirit or a community that supports them and inspires them forward. And as a result, most people resign to their lowest nature. The godlike tech advancements of the modern day are only equaled in caliber by the complete social and moral decline. Science and entertainment and materialism can't fill the gaping hole left by the death of God and the death of culture. And when the spirit of a people dies, the culture dies, and everything else crumbles along with it. This is why we have a crisis of meaning and a crisis on every level in the West. People today are no longer connected to their roots or to each other. Shared social bonds and shared purpose has almost completely gone away. Outside of sports or hobbies or your job, there's no nourishing myth or ideals that a community strives after together. Essentially, we've had a death of tribe, and people call this normal. Look around. It is every man for himself today. And I don't think another hobby group or job is going to fix this very deep spiritual need we have to be united with kindred people as a part of a larger cause or project. I talk about the decline of the West on almost every single video on this channel, from the breakdown of dating and marriage to the breakdown of community and shared purpose. And in this video, I don't want to rehash everything. I want to put out the call to leaders and talk about what we need for this coming turning of the age. The Law of Polarity states that whatever is absolutely dark has its counterpart of absolute light. Whatever is absolutely cold has a counterpart of absolute hot. Everything exists within this polar relationship. And this is why I am so hopeful about the future moving forward, is as dystopia and mass confusion and totalitarianism grabs a hold on humanity, also there's equal opportunity for new paradigms and new flourishing. In this age where most people lack meaning and are nihilistic, there is the greatest meaning and cause available to you, and that is the cause of creating culture and leading by example. The goal is to create a living symbol of what could be that shines through the absurdity and backwardness of the modern world. I know many of you feel this. There's a universal cosmic impulse coming onto the planet right now to create decentralized and retribalized societies, to create real culture in our lives again. And this video is dedicated to all you leaders and everyone standing on the fringes. I've talked to countless people that share the same dream, and that is no coincidence to me. The question is where do we start? Ultimately, culture is what we need to rebuild, and that is the most demanding and holistic project anyone could take on. This is why most people just call me a dreamer, or they call me naive, or they call me an idealist, and I may be all of those things, but watch. We're going to do some pretty awesome shit. If I may be so bold to interject some of my own story here, this call has been beyond challenging to answer in my own life. I felt deeper instincts pulling me away from modernity towards a different dream, but I didn't know how to escape from the addictions, the social pressures, the fears and resistances, and the financial obligations that kept me trapped. Good thing I was naive and ambitious as hell and willing to be homeless for multiple years in order to find a new way. But even as I grew ever so slowly into more maturity and freedom, I still rarely saw a clear way forward until recently. And this is where most people start. Disillusionment, addiction, loneliness, pain. And in the darkness, a restlessness and a quiet desperation grows for a dream. And then a war for liberation. The calling for cultural leaders may sound grandiose. It may sound murky, and how do I do that? But it starts small. It starts with how you lead your own life and in your relentless pursuit for a higher flourishing. Yeah, we could talk about all aspects of discipline, of vision, of principles and values and skills and every aspect of cultivating yourself and cultivating community. But honestly, generic self-improvement advice is beyond boring to me. And for all the higher types out there, it isn't actually what you need because your intuition and instincts already know best. What's most important is that you accept the sword of destiny. And that means 3 things to me. Number 1 is that you listen to your heart courageously. Number 2 is you aspire towards your dream with everything. And number 3, you go forth heroically. Without those 3 things, nothing else matters. Because the bottom line is everything is in opposition to your highest flourishing. Society opposes it. Your own fears, resistance, self-deceptions, doubts, and insecurities oppose it, as well as all manner of distractions. This is why, according to tradition, it said wisdom only comes to those who strive and struggle their utmost. The path to self-actualization and success in any field is one of conquest, constant failures, and adaptation. Without the gusto to constantly move forward, you won't make enough mistakes to actually become a leader. This is why growth feels like the lotus flower, sprouting at the bottom of a murky swamp, to slowly go up through the darkness until it finally blossoms in the sunlight. I think a relationship with God and transcendence is non-negotiable on the path, but people will champion all manner of spiritual philosophies and religions, and I find most of these to be impediments to higher types. You see, within men of culture out there, a relationship with God will grow naturally through your struggle and through your devotion. From what I've seen, most modern spiritual philosophies and even religions cater to the weak and fanciful. Most of these spiritual leaders fail to realize that if you lack the will and gusto, you don't have enough energy to make it anywhere. Buddha, for instance, never would have found enlightenment if he didn't will it forth with every part of his being. He never would have sat on the immovable spot for 49 days and nights and conquered the entire underworld if he didn't have a burning desire for transcendence. Yes, he found enlightenment through surrender and non-attachment and peacefulness, but people preached the latter without understanding what got him there, and that is heroic desire, revelation, and indomitable will. Without those things, he wouldn't have had the fuel to get anywhere. From what I can tell, you can only find enlightenment through making enough mistakes to realize what enlightenment is not. Likewise, in business, you gotta fail for years before you finally find the one thing that actually works. The same is true for self-actualization and leadership. It takes 1,000,001 failures before you find your way and your truth. So don't get discouraged, my friends. For future leaders out there, especially cultural leaders, deep spiritual work has to happen. There's no 2 ways around it, and of course, it's hard. My second channel, Christian Bell 2, is dedicated to this path, as well as my book, The Psychology of Slaying Dragons. Ultimately, I've come to understand life like this. As you complete more missions and acquire new experiences with gusto, your dharma and your destiny become more clear to you. Your dharma is your inner nature or law. And I see the purpose of life, the purpose of our experience here on earth, is to nuzzle into the deepest parts of our nature and essence and bring them forth to become what one is. Manifesting your law, or your deepest aspect of your being, actually happens naturally to those who progress with courage. What starts as vague dreams and instincts slowly distill into your destiny. And to me, your inner law or dharma and your destiny, they're the same thing. As you reveal the first, the latter appears. A true leader is very obvious to anyone who can see and is very rare in the modern world. We're going to talk about this extensively in the final passage of this video, which I'm excited to share. But ultimately, a true leader to me is someone who is standing in their dharma. They're in alignment with their superior nature, their heart, and their purpose, and all the distractions and vices have slowly been eliminated from their lives. Of course, we all have different roles to serve, and your archetype is different than mine. But what I'm saying here is serve your role gloriously, my friends. Find your law and bring it forth. And regardless what the haters and the spiritual woo people say, right now we need leaders more than ever. People who are in alignment with their dharma and fearless in leading from the front. And when you see so few people capable of that in your real life, there is no shame and nothing wrong with aspiring to leadership yourself. Creating physical spaces and sovereign communities is obviously the goal. I'm working on a whole hour-long video about startup societies and our decentralized future, so make sure to subscribe for that. But here, I'll keep it really brief. I believe land ownership plus building a business or an economic engine for a tribe is where everything will start. And this is why leaders need to start building their personal values, their skills, and their resources in every way possible with that dream in mind. And along the way, the most important thing to do is cultivate a highly aligned wolf pack of other leaders. This is something you can start doing today by joining something like the Men's Academy. This is a shameless plug. I run an online community of awesome men who mostly are entrepreneurs and aligned on this vision. I run multiple weekly calls where you can build a relationship with me and other leaders in this space. So I'll see you in there. All right, back to the video. One thing I've deeply realized is that team is everything. All the pieces will fall into place when you can connect with the right people and network with other leaders. There are awesome people who are building businesses, building communities, building culture all across the globe. And the more that you can get your voice out there, connect with your online and worldwide community, and grow your real life wolf pack, the more the divine will can work through all of us. Part 4, building culture. The thing that most people don't understand about culture is that it doesn't come from business. It doesn't come from community or proximity or any of these things. It doesn't even come from shared values or principles. Those are guardrails agreed upon later. Culture comes from two main sources, and that is a shared vision and myth and shared rituals. Everything else is secondary. To be a true leader and build culture, you must unite hearts, not minds. This is what most people, like the network state guys, totally miss. Yes, communicating philosophy or values, this is important, but you must be able to speak to the deeper part of humans and unite humans together for anything to happen. And of course, the thing that unites people in the first place is a shared vision, a shared ideal and mythos. And the more spiritual juice you can communicate through that ideal, the more powerfully bonded people will be around it. But getting to the second point, ritual, this is the most interesting thing. If vision is the mind of the community, the ritual is the heartbeat. And no matter how woo-woo it sounds, a community that dances together stays together. In fact, they've done studies on this, and a shared music and dance practice, as well as a shared spiritual practice, are the key indicators of success within a community. And that's because things like ritualistic dance or expression, prayer, or combat, these things bring people together in a real and raw way and help us connect to the deeper parts of our soul. The bottom line is powerful shared experiences are the glue between people and the glue of culture. And if you notice, this is what the West has totally lost, and hence the West is dying. On the bright side here, ritual is something that you can actively start building right now to bring together a wolf pack. Even something as simple as a sauna, cold plunge, and music day with the bros, it can bring people together and break you out of the mundane and routine experiences of life and help you connect on a deeper level. I want to read you a passage from my favorite spiritual text I have ever found, and that is the Kolbrin Bible. It is an ancient manuscript written around the time of Jesus, and it was discovered in both Britain and ancient Egypt. This passage speaks of a prophecy, of leadership and religion that will emerge in the future. And if you will indulge my spiritual side for just a moment, I think you'll get a lot of juice and inspiration out of it. So, without further ado, here's the passage from the Kolbrin. 11:1. The greatest cause any man can serve is that divinely designed for him and intended to be his. It is the cause of mankind, which operates within the divine design and bears man upward to the very threshold of divinity. In these dark days, when many gods wage war among themselves for supremacy, and man is divided against himself with many conflicting beliefs, this cause is voiceless and unchampioned. Yet already the champion is conceived and lies asleep within the womb of time, awaiting the hour of birth. The champion is the good religion, now safeguarded and cherished by the devoted few during the ages of its conception. This is the religion which will someday enter the homes and hearts of a despairing humanity, enshrining the hopes and aspirations of mankind. It will endow them with life and meaning, so that they can rise with man to the mountaintops of divinity. Only the good religion will stand forth and declare that man, given a cause sufficiently great, will be unconquerable. While other beliefs appeal for mercy and aid, or beg forgiveness, or seek to appease, declaring man to be weak and pitiful, the good religion will come to his aid like a life-giving elixir. Its advent will be the morning star heralding a new, brighter day, and in the light of that day, man will know himself for what he really is, and the dawn heralds will declare his divinity. Then, from out of the dust long gathered in the darkness, the new man will arise and stride resolutely forward towards the sunrise. In the days of its awakening, the good religion will require leaders, and these will need to be men of exceptional qualities. They will have to devote themselves to its cause without any thought of self-aggrandizement. Many men deceive themselves into thinking their desire for leadership is to benefit others, but in fact they are really seeking self-esteem and power. Some cannot see their true incentives or read their innermost thoughts because of the cloud of hypocrisy which surrounds them. Such men are not desirable leaders. The path the good religion must tread will not be an easy one, and all who follow it will need to dedicate every effort and the last reserves of resourcefulness to its cause. The faint-hearted will have no place in it, for a cause so great will need the utmost sacrifice of person and purse. When men are half-hearted in a cause or indifferent about the achievement of its objective, they are denied a true leader. If the leader is blind, he and those who follow him will end up in the ditch. The true leader is a man to whom all who follow him can look up to in every way. When there is no true men capable of worthy leadership, strive to be such a man yourself. Where no one is willing to accept responsibility or to strive and be worthy of it, then take the initiative yourself. In this, there is no arrogance if you dedicate yourself to service and not self-esteem, if you recognize your own shortcomings and limitations. Leadership and example are essential to the advancement of mankind, and where they are lacking, there is certainly no wrong done in their establishment. The criterion of a good leader is his own integrity and intent. So my friends, I hope that inspires you to your heights. We need your service in one way or another. And if you want to keep the inspiration flowing, come join the Men's Academy and discuss these ideas and apply them with like-minded brothers every week. I'll see you in there. And if that's not for you, you can click here for a recent video about the end of the world, the age of prophecy, and why I'm stoked for it. Peace.